Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I, of course, am he, the man in the title, Mr. Warren Hayes, and this is the edition that we are doing here today on April 16th, 2020. What a day it has, a couple of days it has been for wrestling. We're talking about it. So what a week. Jesus, it's only, the week isn't done yet. What a week. People are like, oh boy, it's not done yet, folks. But you know what, tonight, I'm going to try and, there's some things that are inevitable. We are going to be talking about the elephant in the room. I might as well just go ahead and talk about it. I mean, it's not as if I'm trying to avoid talking about my competition, like certain other promotions do. We're going to talk about the releases, of course, but I'm going to try and keep things as light as possible. We're going to try and make things entertaining and fun, because I think we're all in the mood a little bit for that. So, hey, let's have ourselves a good time here tonight on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes, where the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is recorded live every Thursday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern, in front of a live studio audience, just as if I'm like some sort of cuckoo wacky kind of sitcom guy. Right. But it may not be a live studio audience, but there is a live audience here with me this evening, as there is every Thursday evening. And we've got Tim Traver, who's here. Hello, Tim. Patrick Mason, who's here as well. Hello, Patrick. Throwback is here as well. Oh, Throwback. You know what's coming up, buddy. DJ MC is here as well. We've also got Robert Larry. How you doing? Tony Wiegand is here as well. Chris Grenley, how you doing? Benoit is in the house as well. Scott Frame, how you doing? Joe Hansen. Melissa's Poetry. Ooh, well, maybe we'll get lucky and maybe we'll have a haiku or something. Joe Hansen, how you doing? Daniel Price, Jamie Small, welcome everyone to the show here this evening. I am thrilled to see you all. We got a big one planned this evening, and if you're watching right now live on YouTube, and if you already like this, give the video a thumbs up. That stuff always helps. If you're watching it later, that's cool as well. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast application, because the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is also available in audio format, don't forget to give us a like, a subscription, what's the other thing? A review. Whatever you can do to show some love there, that also helps out a lot. And maybe you're even listening to this on Smart to Death Radio, because Mr. Warren Hayes Show is part of that great group of folks. So thank you for checking us out there as well on Smart to Death Radio. And if you're not subscribed to Smart to Death Radio on your podcast app, you should, because there's a bunch of fantastic people doing fantastic things there as well. Per usual, after the show this evening, I will head on over to patreon.com/Mr. Warren Hayes to do another post stream affectionately called Warren is Off the Clock. And I'll be talking about a couple of more happenings that are going on this week in regards to pro wrestling. But I'm also going to be talking about, you guys know I love me some tournament wrestling. Haven't had the chance to talk about the NXT Cruiserweight round robin tournament. A round robin. That makes me happy. I like round robin tournaments. So we're getting that for the NXT Cruiserweight title. So I'm going to be talking about that. If you want to come over after, it's fantastic. It's a good time. Patreon.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Of course, I will be back doing the podcast thing tomorrow evening, right after SmackDown over on Fightful on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Fightful, to recap that with Sean Ross Sapp. You can also head on over to my merchandise area on the internet, tinyurl.com/Warren Shop. There's a couple of t-shirts there. And of course, if you want all sorts of magnificent, wonderful news about the women's of wrestling, well, you head on over to belltobells.com for all your women's wrestling news and updates and opinions and whatnot. Belltobells.com. That's BELLTOBELLES. Oh, see, I switched it up this week. So you can go over there and check that out. And if you also want to show some support to the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, live right here, you can drop a super chat and I will read your comment, your thought, your haiku here live for everyone to hear, as long as you're not being offensive or stupid. But that's not the case. We've got a great chat here, so that's very, very cool. And what's also very, very cool is that I'm for the second part of the show, I am going to be. I have a guest to talk about some stuff happening in the wonderful world of professional wrestling, and it is a very special guest who will be doing his podcasting debut with me. It's our pal Throwback from the chat, who is going to be joining me right after I'm done with the weekly wrestling inspection. We're going to be talking about that, so hang around. You're going to get to hear me talk with him and talk about wrestling. It's going to be a good time with our pal Throwbacks, and that'll be fun. Look at all these people popping in here as well. Look at that. Hey, Jess, how you doing? Nerdy Mark, good to see you. Good to see everyone here tonight. Got a good show on our hands. And just before we get into the inspection, just a quick thought, a quick payment of respects to Howard Finkel, the Fink, who passed away. Was announced that he passed away. Was announced today. 69 years of age. Not all that old. It's kind of a shame. But my God, what a legend. What an icon when it comes to the world of professional wrestling. Not only WWF. This is a guy who has been emulated. People have tried to be like him, to talk like him, to act like him throughout the years. Always duplicated, always imitated, never duplicated, right? That's the expression we want. And for a lot of us older guys and gals who watched wrestling from the 80s on and into the 90s, Howard Finkel was one of the premier voices of professional wrestling. He was the match. He began the matches. He ended the matches. It was Howard Finkel. Talented guy. And by looking at all the fantastic tweets being put out in the statements today regarding Fink, everyone reaching out, saying how good of a person he is, I have no doubt in my mind that he was an extraordinary human being. When you pass away and you get that much sincere love, that's very telling on the person. A true legend. Very much a shame. I feel was taken a little too soon, but will always be remembered. Always be remembered. So let's do it then. Let's get to it. It's time for the weekly wrestling inspection. Thank you again. It's pathetic. You guys should warn me, chat, before I go off to do the inspection. Hey, make sure that you don't let the intro roll again. Anyway, thank you again, as always, to Ben for the Ben Parizet from the chat. Good friend of the show, Patreon, and also talented musical composer guy for that little jingle. Let's go right ahead. We're going to start straight off the bat with some very cool beans. I want to start by talking about, look, Asuka. Asuka has been a gem throughout the entire PC era of professional wrestling in WWE these days. She has been carrying, I wouldn't say carrying the brand, but she's been carrying a tremendous amount of the entertainment factor of the brand as practically all by herself, with her mannerisms, where she's being loud and so on and so forth. She's goofy, but also while keeping an edge to what she's doing in the ring. She's not turning into a comedy act. She can still snap someone's neck if needed. So I like the duality that she's developed. Not too serious, not too dark, but there is still a darkness to it. And my God, she's just been fantastic. From WrestleMania 36, the match that happened on Friday, then she's back on Monday here against Ruby Riott, qualifying for the Money in the Bank match. My God, she has been remarkably good and such a boon for the empty arenas. I can't say enough good things about her. She deserves cool beans all to herself. You know who also deserves cool beans? Bayley and Sasha. And that little promo they had last Friday on SmackDown, that little situation, which I really dug, where, look, you guys know by now, I've been begging, waiting, pleading to get Sasha versus Bayley again. And I think I'm not alone in this, because we know it's going to be a quality match, and it is a pay-per-view main event level fight. No matter which way you look at it, this is something that has to happen, and has to happen soon while the ladies can still go. But aside from that, I was still disappointed that they didn't do it at WrestleMania this year. But they're clearly giving us the slow burn again. But at least they're leaning into it a little more than they did in the past. Because the promo that we got on Friday was very much an indication of how twisty and turny this feud could go. If you don't remember, Tamina came to the ring and sort of challenged Bayley and Sasha, challenged Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Bayley was like, "Cool, man, you can do it, but under one condition: you have to beat my friend here, Sasha Banks." And Sasha was like, "Wait, what?" And she felt like she was thrown to the. It looked like she was being thrown to the wolves. Didn't seem in complete agreement, and I like this little wrinkle because it has you question, right? Makes you wonder what Bayley is thinking. Is it's really one of two things? Did she do this because indeed Sasha is her best friend and she felt that Sasha would do anything for her and will selflessly protect Bayley at any cost? Or is Bayley just looking to ruin Sasha a little bit because she knows the inevitability that's upcoming, that Sasha is going to challenge her for the title? It's interesting. I like to think that Bayley might be leaning towards the latter, where she just wants to fuck up Sasha a little bit, because we saw it at WrestleMania when Sasha was getting pinned in the Fatal 5-Way. Bayley was leaning up against the ropes, and she could have done something to save her, but she didn't. She chose not to do it. So I'm thinking that, look, it's still really, really interesting, and I hope they continue to take their time with it. I think it's going to be good. Well, look, the match has to happen. They've been toying with this for we're going on to 3 years at this point. This has to happen. This just has to happen. More cool beans. Like I said, we're keeping it light. We're talking about some good stuff. Sarah Logan versus Shayna Baszler, I thought was real good stuff. I really did. Because it advanced the angle. It was an angle more than a match, but I really liked it. I liked that Shayna Baszler came in and just dropped on top of Sarah Logan and just went complete ground and pound on her. Logan was trying to put up a guard, couldn't do it. Shayna Baszler, at least Shayna Baszler didn't care. And then the arm stomp, the elbow stomp, I don't know how you want to call it, but it was perfect. The angle was really good because Logan sold the shit out of that stomp. Crock. And this is one of these instances where the empty arena really helped add to the gravity of the situation. Because you really had, the cries of pain from Sarah Logan, and there was nothing. There wasn't a murmur. There weren't people talking. Commentary shut up. Shayna Baszler hit the bricks, and you could hear Logan agonizing. Like, she did a fantastic sell job. Of course, they announced that Sarah Logan had won, which was clearly a miscommunication. And I was like, wait, how did she win? She did. The referee stopped the match. If the referee stops the match because the wrestler can't go on, It's not a disqualification. It's that wrestler essentially like throwing in the towel. It's the equivalent of throwing in the towel. You lose, buddy. But it was cleared up, indeed. But this was a great angle. I loved it. I loved how it was executed. Like I said, I think the empty arena helped out a lot. It was good stuff. Wild Boy 87, how you doing? Welcome to the chat, dude. Next, I'm gonna give some warm soda here, and I'm gonna give it to the fact that Zelina Vega has a posse now. I'm like, what, Warren? You're not into this? It seems to me, Warren, you'll be into the Zelina Vega having a stable of wrestlers. It seems like it would be up your alley. Why you give it the warm soda and not the cool beans? Well, I'm gonna tell you. You'll see why. Look, there's a little back and forth with this. I am absolutely 100% behind Zelina Vega, having a stable of wrestlers, having a managerial stable of wrestlers like the Heenan family. They're not necessarily affiliated and wearing the same colors or all wearing the same logo. Just a bunch of wrestlers who have one same manager who wants to give them success. And I like this because it ties into Zelina Vega's character when she was in NXT, when she effectively plucked Andrade Cien Almas from his party boy gimmick, which was on a downward spiral, and made him more serious. It was like, hey man, you got to focus on your career now. And then he became a winner, became NXT champion. It was all fantastic stuff. So this leans heavily into this past that they weren't really establishing well on Raw when she was called up, or SmackDown with Andrade. But now, since they're going to push into it, I am so for this. I am 100% behind it. Because it's really like I'm collecting the best guys that I see, and we're all gonna make money together. We're gonna dominate. But because of me, I dig that. And it's been a while since we've seen that type of association in WWE, excuse me. So it's been teased for the past couple of weeks that this is what she's been doing. It's been set up, and I really like that. I dig it. And I also dig that her stable was like, they attacked Akira Tozawa after his match with Austin Theory. They attacked Tahuti Miles after his match with Angel Garza, which I liked. But then why would you put Andrade in a match at the main event against Drew McIntyre if he's going to lose? Because now you're just taking steam out of the stable. Because now the two under guys in the stable, because Andrade, he's the star of the show in that stable, in that group. He loses, and he's already it just takes a little away from the mystique straight off the bat. And I really thought that was strange. Why would they decide to pull the trigger on creating this stable? Hell, they even do the fist things. I thought they were going to do like LIJ America or something, and I would have marked the fuck out. But that's wishful thinking because it's WWE and the other thing's New Japan. That would never happen. But still, and Andrade is part of Los Ingobernables, or used to be, in Mexico. So there was a lot of things connecting in my brain at that moment when they did the fist bump. My point is that the reason why I can't give it some cool beans is because I feel like they slipped up a bit by putting Andrade, the top guy in the stable, in a match against Drew, where we know he's not going to win because Drew is going to dominate for a while still. It sort of takes some of the sheen away from the stable, and it just got to me. But otherwise, I'm really happy. I hope this goes fantastically well. Kristen Ashley's in the chat. Everybody bow down to my fiance, or else I'll slug you. No, I'm kidding. I won't slug you. Tim Traver left super chat. Thank you very much, Tim. Congratulations, Mr. Warren Hayes. Probably talking about my engagement. Thank you very much. With Kristen Ashley. Thank you very much. He says, I've been with my girl for 12 years. That's an impressive feat. Good job, Tim. There we go. Moving along. Let's move along here. So from the warm soda, we're going to move on to some hot trash. I'm going to talk about Nia Jax and Kairi Sane. There was nothing, absolutely nothing to this match. Where did my hot trash go? There we go. Why did you go all the way over here? Why aren't you showing up either? Is my hot trash doomed? No. There we go. If I'm going to pull it out, I'm not going to pull it out enough tonight, so I'm going to put it up on screen here. So we've got some hot trash with Nia Jax and Kairi Sane. There was nothing to this match. It wasn't even interesting. And I don't like Nia Jax as a performer. I really, really don't. As a human being, I think she's remarkable. I'm completely distancing make no mistake about what I'm trying to say here. Nia Jax, the human being, and the character are two completely separate, different entities. I think Nia is a fantastic human being, but I don't like her as a performer. And I really didn't like this match. My God, there were hair tosses. Like, we're back in, it's as if Fabulous Moolah came back from the dead and started producing matches again for WWE. And then her finisher is, and they call it the Annihilator. And it's essentially just her gorilla pressing someone and then putting them back on her shoulders for a Samoan drop. And what? How was this? I don't understand. How is that better than a Samoan drop? Because it's essentially the same thing. And I don't know why she didn't keep the Rampage. That at least looks cool. Maybe she didn't ask Paige for permission and Paige got a little mad. Maybe we'll see some of that drama on Total Divas season 13, whatever season they're at. I don't know. Oh, Chad says Annihilator. Oh my God. Okay, so they just want to. Look, whatever they call it, the name is fine. It's not the name that the problem is. It's the move. Gorilla presses, then puts her back on her shoulders to do a Samoan drop. It's a Samoan drop. I don't care what it's. The gorilla press doesn't add anything. And honestly, I mean, why wouldn't you at least try with Kairi Sane at this point? Why? Because it was so the thing here is that it's so predictable, and like I say, predictability isn't necessarily bad if the road to get to where we're supposed to go is fun, but there's nothing fun about a squash match with Nia Jax, who isn't all that good. I don't know, man. It's just weird. Let's just leave it at that. It's just weird, and I didn't like it. And Kairi Sane, I mean, there's been a lot of talk that she might be heading back to Stardom at some point. I mean, we know that she got married, right? She got married in Japan. She had a very long meeting with Rossi, who was the head of Stardom, Rossi Ogawa. And she's expressed on social media the interest of coming back to Japan. And there's a lot of people who think that she'd be better treated if she went back to Japan. And I was talking to my boy JPQ of the No Particular Angle podcast, which you can listen to on the Smart to Death Radio podcasting network. I was talking to him about this, and he feels that, maybe she'll resign, maybe not, but there's definitely, he told me straight out the bat, if she stops, he feels that she might retire because her body has a lot of wear and tear from all those years doing Joshi and Stardom. She may be young, but her body has a lot of wear and tear on it. So for him, he even sees the possibility of her pulling the plug once she's done with WWE. Now, there were a lot of Kyrie rumors that were circulating yesterday. A lot of people feeding some misinformation about that, or at least it hasn't been announced if she is gone or whatever. But for all intents and purposes, as far as we know right now, Kairi Sane is still a part of the WWE roster. And, I mean, it's not hard to hope for better things for her, especially with her time in NXT. She's a former champion. She was such a great character. The inaugural Mae Young Classic winner. Come on. She deserves a lot better than this. Let's go back to some cool beans. I want to give some good cool beans here to the Viking Raiders versus Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, clearly a team, and this match was real good. Ricochet and Cedric have matching gear, or at least in colors and styles, despite the fact that Ricochet's in trunks, Alexander's in tights. The clash of styles here was fantastic. And as a pair of guys as talented as War Machine, War Raiders, Viking Raiders, who are used to working with smaller guys because they had a long, extensive career on the independent circuit. There's not many meaty meat men like they are on the indies, so they're used to working with smaller guys like this. They made Cedric and Ricochet look fantastic. The tornado DDT from Cedric on Ivar was super nice. So was Ricochet's slingshot senton. The smaller guys worked. Great psychology to convince us as to how they could keep the Raiders separated and keep them in their corner, because that's what it was all about. That was the psychology of the match, how the smaller guys were able to cut Ivar off or cut Eric off to wear them down and try to get the upper hand. Of course, the Vikings' power offense was a little too much. This was a great match. I really liked it. And imagine still not knowing what to do with Ricochet. I don't want to spoil it. We're in a good groove now. No, but I mean, because I talk about it on social media and I say, imagine not knowing how to use Ricochet, one of the greatest athletes we have in pro wrestling, a guy who can do absolutely insane stuff. And you're going to tell me that you're going to relegate this guy to the lower mid card because he can't cut a promo? Because that's all the answers I get. Well, he can't cut a promo. It's a bullshit excuse. It's always been a bullshit excuse. Because if you believe in a guy, or a girl for that matter, and you want them to succeed, give them a goddamn mouthpiece. Pair them up with someone who can talk. Let someone else do the talking. And quite honestly, Ricochet is the kind of wrestler who gets over without talking. He doesn't need to cut the promo. And the promos, the material that he was being given leading up to this point has been objectively bullshit. It's been bad. Why not play off the guy's strengths? Never mind the mic. Let him scintillate our senses in the ring instead of trying to force him to cut promos. And, this is always how it's been in WWE. Maybe it's time for a change, and this is something that I'm going to hammer on. People who tell me this is always how it's been, I don't give a shit. I'm looking forward. I want differences. I want new things in my wrestling. I want WWE to try out new things because they are a billion-dollar company in a position to try out new things. Let one goddamn wrestler try and get himself over without having to cut promos every week where he looks awkward. That was an unscheduled rant. Let's move on to some more. My throat's already getting on me. All right. Let's move on to some more cool beans. Chucky T versus Kip Sabian on Dynamite. I thought was really good. I thought it was fun. A fun match. We have to point out, one of the reasons why this match was so much fun was because of the work of Tony Schiavone and Chris Jericho. My God, as an announced team, these two are so natural with each other. They're enjoying themselves. They're having a good time. Vape Ross Vape, how you doing? Just saying in the chat. Blade Runner, how you doing? It's so natural. They're like having a conversation, joking with each other. Conversational. You know, it doesn't feel overproduced Feels good, feels organic, and I like it. And it added so much to this match here. And the match in and about itself was a lot of fun. Chucky T, once again, despite all the haters out there who don't like him, can show that he can work a match. And I especially appreciated his single leg takedown that he transitioned into a single leg crab, which I thought was fantastic. And Chris Jericho said, "See, you don't need a great physique to be a great wrestler." And I love that kind of simple ribbing as well. You know, it's like, it's fantastic. Sabian also looked very good. He had a good series of offense. I liked his roll through snapmare followed by a yes kick, which was really good. Chucky T caught Kip Sabian off the top rope, hit a Falcon Arrow. And the ending was so good, where you had Penelope Ford trying to seduce Chucky T with her womanly ways. Meanwhile, you have Chris Jericho saying, "I never kiss a girl on during a wrestling match. I never let." This was all fantastic. So and that doesn't quite work out for Chucky T, but then you have Orange Cassidy get up on the apron and tried to seduce Kip Sabian with his orangey ways, with his freshly squeezed ways. Ooh, I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, this was so good. It was so stupid, and it allowed Kip to get the win, which is good because he has a match coming up next week for the TNT in the TNT tournament. This was clearly setting up a feud between the best friends, Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford, and apparently they're aligning Kip Sabian with Jimmy Havoc, which is fine. And I can get behind these two trios fighting. I can get behind Penelope Ford and Orange Cassidy being stupid with each other and having Penelope hitting all sorts of moves on him. She's done this in the past. She's wrestled dudes before. That's not the issue. I don't think we're going to see an intergender match anytime soon in AEW, but still, you know, it's cool stuff. I liked it. I really did. Some hot trash though. Mox versus Hager was not good. And I wanted to like this match. I really did want to like this match. But it was too long. And I think we've learned now that extended empty arena matches are not the way to go in our modern era where coronavirus has taken over. It was too much. And there was confusion at some point because it was like, oh no, falls don't count anywhere. But then at some point, the referee is checking Hager for a submission when Moxley has him wrapped up in a figure four around a post in the arena. And the main problem that I had, what boggles my mind and why they decided to go so long with it, what boggles my mind here is that we knew Hager had no way of winning this match. No way. Absolutely no way Jon Moxley was dropping the title here. So why would you give us a 40-minute match why would you give us a 40-minute match when we know what the outcome is inevitably going to be? We know what's going to happen here, right? Not even sure a crowd could have saved this. JR was not the man to put on this. JR could not handle calling this all by himself. Give me Taz and Excalibur for this one. It would have been fantastic. But JR, you know what? With all the commentary switch-ups that they've been doing recently, having Taz and Excalibur do stuff, having Shivani and Jericho, even Shivani and Cody, they are not making me miss JR. I am not excited for him to come back because we're seeing extremely competent pairings happening top to bottom throughout all of this. JR he's 4 or 5 steps behind now. Legendary career would have never, the Attitude Era would not have been the same without him. He's a legend, bona fide legend, but he's just not there anymore. It's just not the same thing, and he just added to the emptiness of the empty arena match. I'm going to tell you one thing, guys. If Edge and Randy Orton were unable to give us a 40-minute empty arena match at WrestleMania, a compelling one that was entertaining, these two guys, top tier athletes, both of them, bona fide main eventers, with a compelling and well executed storyline full of drama. If they were unable to give us a 40-minute match, there was no goddamn way that Jake Hager was going to pull it off on Dynamite. And it looks like I'm dumping a lot on Hager, but it's not his fault. A lot of booking into here. Because he's just not believable. He's just not believable as a main eventer. He wasn't believable it wasn't believable that he was going to beat Mox. There was just no way, no matter how much they tried to hype it up. So when you know what the outcome is, there's no point in dragging this out for 40 minutes. And one last point, a little cool bean to finish this off. Timothy Thatcher and Killer Cross debuted yesterday on NXT. Timothy Thatcher popped up as Matt Riddle's secret partner, while Pete Dunne is away, caught trapped in the UK. Clearly said that Dunne said, "This is my choice. This is the guy that's going to replace me." His Thatcher's work was really solid and well paced, and we got to point this out because Thatcher is not known to work a fast-paced style. If he can adapt like this, he's fantastic. He's a great technician, and psychology-wise, I think he's unmatched right now. But if he's able to pick up the pace like he did last night, it's gonna be great. Would have liked him to debut and fight in front of Full Sail. Would have liked Full Sail to have that moment where, like, oh my God, it's this guy. Would have added to the credibility for the home viewing audience to be like, who is this guy? But hey, he debuted on NXT in a main event, defending a championship. There's worse debuts. There's worse ways to debut. How you doing, Bad News Burke? How you doing? Then, of course, Killer Cross debuted, assaulting Ciampa. We saw Scarlett Bordeaux's boot. And Killer Cross is now known as Carrion Cross because you can't put Killer out there for the kids. You got to think of the kids. Well, there you have it, folks. That is what I have this week for the weekly wrestling inspection. Hope everyone is having a good time. I sure do know I am. If you want to show a little support my way, if you want so, you can leave a super chat and I will read your statement online right here to be recorded for posterity here on the internet. We're going to head on over to Throwback, who's going to be joining me in a couple of minutes. But before we do, I want to throw out something here, especially for you guys out there. And I want to ask you this question. It's not a question. It's more like a situation. Okay. It's a hypothetical. So let's say you're with your significant other, right? You're locked in, self-preservation, self-containment, whatever you want to call it. And, you're down to your 20th consecutive game of Connect 4 and you're bored and they're bored as well. So you turn to your partner and you say, "Hey, what would you like to do?" And your partner goes, "I don't know." And would you like to bake with me? And your partner goes, "Nah, not really." "Would you like to make some Dalgona coffee?" And your partner goes, No, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get diabetes with all the Dalgona coffees that you're making because you're posting them all on Instagram. So, okay. Would you like to watch a movie? We could do something like an escape movie, something adventurous, like a jungle movie. And then under your breath, your partner goes, "I'd like you to do something adventurous with your jungle." And you're like, What? What are they trying to say? Are they trying to tell you, give you a message? Trying to say something very underhandedly about maybe how you handle your underparts? Well, let me tell you, today, Mr. Warren Hayes Show is brought to you thanks to Manscaped, and they are here to make sure that your balls are smooth while you or your partner are playing with them. Manscaped promotes clean hygiene when it comes to shaving your balls thanks to their Lawnmower 3.0. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming, and this is the perfect time to make manscaping a brand new part of your daily routine. Manscaped is forever changing the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0. The Perfect Package includes precision engineered tools for your family jewels. And it comes with the Perfect Package 3.0 kit. Comes with the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 right here. It's a waterproof cordless body trimmer. And it comes also with a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine. This third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade right there at the top to prevent manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology. And inside your Perfect Package 3.0, you'll also find the Manscaped Crop Preserver, which is an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer, and also some ball toner. Who doesn't want toned balls, I'll tell you. And hey, even if you don't have a significant other, right, you can still take good care of yourself. That's normal. That's something you should be doing, because let me tell you, it's only once you've cut through the underbrush of the jungle that you really see how big the Amazon River is. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to the Perfect Package now and get a new replacement blade refill for your Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months, making sure your trimmer is always fresh and clean. And for a limited time, subscribers get not one, but 2 free gifts. And I'm going to show you these gifts. The Shed Travel Bag right here. Look at that. $39 value that you can put in your manscaping equipment or all sorts of other things. Hairbrush, toothbrush, toothpaste. The sky's the limit. Well, not sky's the limit, but hey, there's a lot of stuff that you can put in there. And on top of the travel bag, you also get their patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped boxer briefs. But I'm not going to show you them because I'm currently wearing them right now, and I feel like I'm sitting on a on a cloud, on a nice, comfy cloud. Ooh, yeah. This is the perfect package for your perfect package. And if you go to manscaped.com right now, you can get 20% off and free shipping if you use promo code Warren over at manscaped.com. Do yourself a favor, get the right tools for the right job, and get 20% off and free shipping with code Warren at manscaped.com. Make playing with your balls the best part of your day. Thank you, Manscaped, once again, for your support of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Rob Wilkins left a super chat and says, "Hey, Warren, have a few minutes to stop by. It's been a tough few days for the wrestlers we love to watch, and even us fans. Days will get better." Thank you, Rob. And indeed, it hasn't been the best time, but you know what? We're doing our best to try and stay on top of things here. So we're going to get Throwback on. We're going to take a very short technical break here so I can get everything set up. But on the flip side, we'll be right back, and our boy Throwback is going to be here to talk about more wrestling. Stay right here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are back at the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. And look who it is right here. It is the man, the guy who's been hanging out all over the place. And it's my pleasure to have him here with me this evening on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show to talk about wrestling with me because he's a lifelong fan. It's our boy Throwback. How you doing, Throwback?
Not bad. Just in a Corona life, living in a Corona living.
Aren't we all, right? And you seem to be very laid back. Maybe that should be your new nickname. Har har har.
Yeah, well, I mean,
don't encourage me.
Yeah, no. I can't even say anything. I know I'm gonna end up getting like hit on real quick because like my phone's right next to my laptop. So next thing I know, I get like my phone going off like crazy.
Well, there you go. There you go. We've already got people in the chat who are offended at the fact that you were wearing some Pats gear. But hey, you know what? That's your prerogative. You're the guest. And whoever's angry in the chat at that can stay angry.
Well, I'm going to say this. The jersey that's on here.
Yes.
It's basically like I was telling you earlier. It's representing my mom because next month it'll be a year since she passed. So it's a custom Patriots jersey with the number 19 on it.
There you go. But absolutely, we understand that, and it was just Kristen goofing off because she likes to underscore the fact that she doesn't like the Pats. But no one likes the Pats outside of New England, regardless, right? That's the thing, right?
That's debatable.
All right. Well, that's not what we're going to be debating today. We are going to be talking about some haps within the world of wrestling recently. Like I said at the start of the show, we are going to talk a little bit about the WWE firings, but I don't want to get too much into it. Besides, I had a live stream yesterday. I did a live stream with Anthony from Smart to Death, where we basically went over the situation and talked about WWE's behavior and so on and so forth. So not to rehash all that, you guys can go check that out after if you like. But there's still some stuff to talk about. The dust has settled a little bit. We've all heard about the extensive list of talent. And we're not even talking about the producers, the staff that's been laid off. We're talking about the talent. We got Kurt Angle, Rusev, Drake Maverick, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Heath Slater, Eric Young, Rowan, Sarah Logan, No Way Jose, Mike Chioda, referee Mike Chioda, Mike and Maria Kanellis, EC3, Aiden English, Leo Rush, Primo and Epico, and Diana Perazzo. These people have not been furloughed. They have been future endeavored. They are cut. These are firings, Throwback. Off the top of your head like that, is there anyone here that really surprises you as far as departures go?
Well, I was on the show yesterday when you were doing your live, and I even said it straight up. It's not even anybody on that list. It's Fit Finlay. The reason being is that Fit was the one who started this women's revolution. How are you going to let go the cornerstone for somebody who's starting it? I mean, look at the Royal Rumble. Becky Lynch gets into the Royal Rumble after losing to Asuka, who was the one who did it.
Yeah, it was Fit. Yep.
Yeah. So out of the talent pool, I think for me personally, I think there's more coming. There has to be. And what I said, I sent a message to Sean Ross, and I was like, dude, is there any more coming out? Like what I did it on Twitter. I'm like, is there any more contracts coming up? Because honestly, business-wise, if they're cutting this much talent, what's next? Because they can't save all these high-end talents. You got to figure out what they're going to do. Eventually, I still think Fit's the one who takes the bigger hit. But that's long-term because of all the pipeline of the women they have in NXT. But what will end up happening eventually is that he'll probably end up in AEW or something like that and just strengthen that women's division because that's a little weak. The characters are great. It's just, having somebody to keep that structure in line is kind of off.
Yeah, they need a little production assistance there. So yeah, you think his destination would be AEW? That would be your guess, basically.
That would be one. But another thing I thought of is, you don't hear many European Irish wrestlers other than Becky, like quote unquote famous.
Yeah.
He could always go back to Ireland and create his own development and just do it that way.
I mean, the sky's the limit for him, right? Because he's a bona fide legend in the business. He's been around. It feels like he's been around for 75 years. Of course, I'm exaggerating. He hasn't, but I mean, he's done it all. He's worked in he's worked in WCW. He's worked in the NWA. He worked obviously with WWF for a while as a talent and as a producer, and he's been there for years. I kind of felt like he was going to be a lifer. Like I agree with you as far as the whole scope of people that they released. He was definitely the guy who he was one of these guys that I really thought was going to stay in WWE for life. And to be honest, I kind of think if we're going down that road, Mike Chioda is one of those as well, because he's been refereeing in WWE since 1989.
Yeah, that was the shocking one.
Yeah, that was quite the surprise one. And I think he was out because of injury. Like he's been rehabilitating right now. So that one was a bit of a shocker as well. What are your thoughts on Kurt Angle, though? Kurt Angle is probably the biggest, most well-known star that they had released. He's a household name to a certain extent. He's been around forever. What are your thoughts on that?
It was time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, like between the runs in between him coming back for the Hall of Fame and doing everything and just wrestling with Rousey and everything, it was time. The name that popped up mostly for me that everybody knew was going to be Rusev, regardless. And now, like, everybody's playing where he would go. It's like Monopoly. But
what do you think is up for Rusev? What? Tell me your gut feeling, your instinct.
I don't think Japan's in it.
You don't think so?
I don't think Japan. I don't think AEW. What I think mostly what's going to end up happening is that he's going to go around Europe for a little bit.
Europe.
And then he might end up going in the Indies a little bit. I think out of all of them, he might be the one to do the McIntyre route.
Mm-hmm.
Come back maybe 5 years from now and then just slay it in WWE as a different moniker.
Right. Like go reinvent himself a little bit, come back, and then just like tear it out. Because that's the template, right? That's what you're talking about when you talk about Drew, who left for a while, went and regained some credibility, came in through NXT, and then look at him now. Yeah, that'd be an interesting way for him to approach it as well. Chris Greenlee left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Chris. Says the amount of bloat in WWE is insane. I even forgot they had Kushida. And you sort of touched that, and you're absolutely right. I mean, just as crazy as it is that they released overall like about over 30 people overall, there's still so much talent left. And you touched about it a little bit, throwback, when you were talking about NXT. You were asking Sean, are there any cuts coming their way? I know that right now, no one knows for sure. Talent is super worried. Everyone's like on pins and needles, but there hasn't been any announcements. When you talk about bloat, there's a lot of people in the PC throwback. Like there's some.
You got the Rock's daughter there too.
You got the what? Sorry?
The Rock's daughter's there too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how frequently she's training, but as far as signees go, there's so many people. There's tons of women there as well. There's all the people that they recruit. Like it seems like every quarter they're recruiting new people to just go into the PC. You got to think that they're feeling a little nervous. I think rightfully so.
It makes more sense. And plus, for me, it's bad timing. It really is. Think about it. All these guys are considered independent contractors, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is that who's going to cover their insurances if somebody gets it? And yeah, they might have all this money and stuff, but it might be tied into businesses and stuff like that. I mean, it's just poor timing. But of course, WWE is always known for poor timing.
but as far as timing goes, like this is one of the worst instances you could think of, because I'm the main thing that bothers me is people have been talking about it for such a long time now, that they've been hoarding talent, just hanging on to talent, not having them do anything, and just so that they don't go elsewhere. And then you know that eventually you're like, well, these people are going to get released eventually because they don't have anything to do. WWE is not giving them anything to do. And then when WWE does decide to let them go, they're letting them go, throwback, in a moment in time where they can't find work anywhere because there are no shows. And I think that's what sucks the most.
I mean, look at what they did with EC3 for freaking how long? Jeez, they let him just sit there, get on camera, and just sip soda half the time.
Look, I mean, there, like you said, there aren't many surprises in the list we have there. We can say the same thing with the Colognes, right? We can say the same thing with Mike Kanellis, or Heath Slater hasn't been really used over the past few years. It's just awful that when they do decide to, okay, now it's time to trim down because we're hanging on to too many salaries, that they do it at a moment where, well, no one can find work because there's no other shows running. You know what I mean? That's what bugs me the most.
Unless you're Carl Anderson on Twitter saying you're going to New Japan.
Yeah, but then again, New Japan's not running any shows. New Japan's not running any shows, and but I'm glad I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because that will lead us into an excellent point. But just before we do, got a couple of super chats. Rob Wilkins says, "Sup, throwback." So many, so many what ifs and that's what suck. That's what sucks. Excuse me. I'm able to read English. It's fine. Yeah, absolutely, Rob. Right. I mean, that's one of the issues right now. There's so many question marks and things that nobody's under control. We just don't know what's going on. Tim Travers says, personally, I'm going to wait and see what happens. That's pretty much all we can do, right? Throwback, just wait and see how all the chips fall.
That's how it's been all the time recently.
Yeah, because we right up until they start running shows again, there's not much we can do about it.
There's a radio station here in Boston called 98.5 Sports Hub, and they were talking about yeah, well, 3 weeks ago, they were talking about how the psychological aspect of people going into these stadiums, and some of these businesses like in the NBA and stuff like that, they're thinking, oh, it's going to be weeks, they'll come right back. The psychological aspect is the radio station host was thinking maybe years.
Yeah, before people get comfortable again? Is that what you mean?
Before people even decide to go in a whole group and just take a shot at if this is still happening. So right. It's really bad timing. Yeah.
We don't know how things are going to turn out, right? Because that's an excellent point. Again, throwback with the excellent points. We don't know exactly how people are going to end up reacting, right? Once the social distancing is all done, because now we're so conditioned to be, hey, stay 6 feet away from each other and so on and so forth. There's this conditioning that's happening. Don't know exactly how things are going to set up, but in comparison, this is one thing that I do. We were talking about New Japan, and I did want to bring this up because I thought it was really interesting and in a good way, and a good comparison as to what's been going on here in North America. There was a group of promoters, wrestling promoters in Japan who met with the Japanese Minister of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology to discuss how the COVID-19 crisis has affected the wrestling business. And they came into this as a united front. And when I say they, I mean New Japan, Stardom, Pro Wrestling Noah, All Japan, DDT Pro Wrestling, Diana, and Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. And they met with the minister, Hiroshi Hase. And if that rings a bell for some New Japan fans, he's actually a former wrestler himself. He wrestled in New Japan. And basically, this was a meeting to for all the promoters to come in and say, look, our goal here is to present a request for coronavirus support during this time and after as well. And basically, their formal proposal, they're asking for two things. They're asking for testing kits for their staff and talent that they can have easy access to testing kits to make sure that they're able, once they do decide to start running shows again, that these kits can be made available to protect the wrestlers, protect the staff as well. And they also want compensation for contracted wrestlers. And I'm going to read here verbatim the comments on that from New Japan Pro Wrestling's website. Not only the wrestlers under contract in our group of companies, but those in the industry at large are designated as contractors whose livelihood is therefore threatened not being able to perform in the current climate. We ask that contracted wrestlers be met with benefits and protections benefiting full-time employees. These are two steps throwback these two demands. It's a lot different than what we're seeing these days.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting too, because if you look at the difference between Japan and the United States, it's far beyond. And it's interesting to see one country have a bunch of people band together just to make, efforts to further on a business or just to get people jobs in general.
Right.
Like, I'm considered an essential, but the thing is that there's about maybe 60% of the population in the United States, unemployed. So it's like these people want to get the people on there. The only difference between New Japan and WWE, they're forcing people doing it when they don't want to.
Yep.
So for New Japan to actually, and Stardom and all that stuff, to step up to do something like this is great. The only thing I'm worried about in the States is that Vince McMahon gets a part of with Donald Trump and being like, we need to open every state, and then all of a sudden it just gets worse.
Well, I mean, he's on the Economic Recovery Committee, isn't he? You saw
God
that, right?
help us all.
with Dana White, that's some brain trust right there. Those are people who have the greater good at the tips of their fingers, right? That's what they're looking forward to, right?
Boy, we're in trouble.
But it is a very interesting situation. It's something very unique anyway, as far as how New Japan is reacting to this. They had Hiroshi Tanahashi, who was there, who made the following statement. He says, while events have been canceled, our wrestlers have been training diligently and maintaining their focus for an eventual return. Yes, not being able to wrestle does make a lot of us concerned for our livelihoods, but in the world of sports, be that baseball, soccer, or sumo, that's another reality right there.
Where's the Honda when you need him?
I feel that professional wrestling should be the anchor. I think it should be acceptable for professional wrestling to be the last sport to return to full activity. I want people to know that when professional wrestling is back, and only then, it means truly that Japanese entertainment has properly recovered. I love Hiroshi Tanahashi. I think he's a great, he's a legend and a great ambassador for pro wrestling in general, not just Japanese. But when he says, I think it should be the last to come back, he's a star. Like, this guy has money, he has a contract. He's in a good position to be like, hey, you know what? No rush to come back, right? There's a lot of people who might be hurting a little more than him.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you're not working, that's a little different.
Yes.
But the thing about it is, at least they're willing to stick their necks out and take a shot. And that's, nowadays, it's just, you don't hear it that often.
We really don't. And a show of solidarity like that is, I don't want to derail it, but the show of solidarity is really interesting. We have someone in the chat saying, someone smile for a day, saying, hi, Uncle Pat, it's me.
John and Thomas go to bed. Also, that's probably Julie.
Okay.
Or Rob and Tom, or Robbie and Cicely.
Well, shout out to all these people. Thank you for being such a draw for the Mr. Warren Hayes show tonight. Throwback. I really appreciate it. there's also in the same spirit, in the same vein, Ring of Honor as well, right? Is has positioned itself in this situation here. The Wrestling Observer reported that Ring of Honor is paying not just the wrestlers all their wrestlers on guaranteed contracts, excuse me, but Ring of Honor is also paying a bunch of staff for shows that were booked that were canceled. And really, you can say that ROH is going above and beyond. They were set to crown a new women's world champion at Quest for Gold on April 24th, but they're paying participants. They're ponying up the cash. Throwback again. Ring of Honor kind of doing the right thing,
whereas the others are not.
Yeah, but it's interesting when you think about how Ring of Honor was kind of like in shambles not that long ago, right?
No, and the funny part is that if you've seen like some of the documentaries, like Seth and all them, they're like, we were the golden age. Maybe the golden age hasn't started yet. With some of these people out there now, you never know. Or Sarah Logan could go out there, or Drake Maverick could turn around into ROH and tear it up. I mean,
Sure.
It could be anything like that. But of course, at the end of the day, it's all money in the bank.
Yeah, and essentially that's what it's all about. And we kind of want there to be more money, but for there to be more money, there has to be shows. So that's one of the things. But it's good to see some promotions kind of doing the right thing, being smart about what they're doing. It's very, very reassuring.
It's positive because you don't hear it in the news. You hear all this negative stuff, like body counts, cases, and stuff. Nowadays you need something positive.
Yeah.
So hearing like, New Japan and ROH doing something like that, whereas WWE is, to quote a line from an old song from Chris Jericho, break the wall down.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of need this kind of this type of news just to make sure that not everything is extremely cynical, and some people really do care about their talent, about the impact that that social gatherings can have. It's good. It's all good. But you know what else is all good? Money in the Bank qualifying matches. Throwback. My God, that's good stuff. We're going to talk a bit about Money in the Bank. We're going to talk about predictions, who we see heading over there. First and foremost, want your thoughts on this straight off the bat. How do you feel about WWE giving us qualifying matches to go to Money in the Bank?
Actually, it's a good idea. It gives, with everything going on with the empty arena, it gives us something to watch. And if they really are going to go the live route, it'll give us something without people in there giving us something to talk about.
For sure. And I mean, if anything, AEW decided to pull out a secondary title and have a tournament while they're in their own empty arenas with their tape programming. So I like tournament wrestling. I like when there's stakes, when there's objectives to wrestlers wrestling. So I'm down for this. I really like it. As it stands right now, we don't know who's been picked for the SmackDown sides as of yet. And we saw the women's qualifiers happen on Monday night on Raw, where Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax, and Asuka all qualified. And on the men's side on Raw, next week we are going to be having Rey Mysterio versus Buddy Murphy, Aleister Black versus Austin Theory, and Apollo Crews versus MVP, of all people. And as I said, I just took the time to check on WWE.com. Nothing's been confirmed for SmackDown yet. So we're going to start speculating a little bit. First and foremost, if we're going to round out a little bit let's say the SmackDown men's side, I don't know. It's 6 people, right? That participate in Money in the Bank.
Yeah, but I have a funny feeling, and this is just going to throw it out since we're speculating.
Sure.
Why not throw NXT in the mix?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to ask you that question. Have you been reading my notes?
Actually, no. The thing about it is that
I haven't been reading my notes.
If you've seen half the tweets that I put out there or half the comments and stuff, the dream match, and I said this months ago, Apollo Crews and Keith Lee.
Apollo Crews, yeah?
Think about it. If Apollo gets on there, you put NXT in there, you put the North American champion Keith Lee in there,
Mm-hmm.
just for a chance to get Money in the Bank. Can you picture Keith Lee having a shot at one of those titles with the North American champion draped over him? That would be insane. But the match that would be so entertaining and so physical with Apollo style and Keith Lee, it
Mm-hmm.
would be literally just energetic craziness.
I'm on paper, I'd agree with you. But WWE has conditioned me to not get behind Apollo Crews. You
No,
know?
I know that, but I'm just saying if we're fantasy booking here, that would be
Sure.
amazing. Reality wise, if Lee went into there and just did it, he would probably run into Roman and Roman would win.
So, well, let's mix it up then. Let's never mind the SmackDown. Let's never mind the SmackDown men and SmackDown women, because I agree. I also think that NXT should be included in this mix. Who should be the? I'm assuming that there's going to be 6 men in the ladder match and 6 women in their ladder match. Who should be the 6 people then, in your opinion? Especially considering the matches that are upcoming or that have happened. Who should be the 6 people?
NXT is out of the equation, so we can't say anything from NXT.
Oh no,
It's just
but
gonna be wrong. Well, if you're
let's throw NXT in there. Let's have a little
okay,
fun. Yeah.
Lee's gonna. If it was me
Mm-hmm.
picking the 6,
Mm-hmm.
Alistair, Lee, Dijakovic.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be an interesting. Um, if we're playing shoots and ladders here, Roman, and that
Mm-hmm.
would play into what I was talking about with you off camera a couple of minutes ago. Um, and then if SmackDown, you have to have somebody in there. I hate saying his name. Oh, Hella Rain Corbin. That
I'll
would be
write him down
one.
belligerently.
Yes. But on Raw, like I said, Black would probably be it. I would pull Ricochet. That would be an interesting idea for him going back into
Mm-hmm.
that ladder match because you can do any combination. And then, oh, it's tough. I mean, Murphy's not going to get out of that bracket out of alive. So,
You
you
don't think
know,
so? You like if we talk about the let's stick with your speculation here, and then maybe go back to the actual matches. So you if you were booking this, basically, if Throwback was given the book, and Vince said, "Hey, pal, here you go. I gotta go into my bunker for a while. I gotta hide away.
oh
I can't
God.
deal with all this media." Linda keeps texting me. Um,
If I
you're
have to
saying Aleister
do,
Black, Keith Lee, Dominic Dijak, Roman Reigns, Baron Corbin, Ricochet. That would be your 6 men for the ladder match, for the Money in the Bank match.
yeah, and the last 2 standing on the ladder, Lee and Roman would win.
You know what? There's a match that has to happen with Lee and Roman ever since the Royal Rumble. That's something I contend. I hold on to. I hope that actually happens. As far as the women go, my friend, what do you feel about that?
Do you want what I was telling you, my head or my heart? Which one do you want to
Hey,
put on a platter?
You know what? Let's go with heart. Let's go with heart.
I'm a homer. I'm sorry. She was in chaotic wrestling. I'm sorry, but it has to happen in Boston. I'm sorry. With the way it could happen too, and a lot of people don't realize this about the Sasha and Bailey thing. They could play it out like Bailey doesn't have an opponent.
Mm-hmm.
She goes out there and says, I demand a match. I'm supposed to be the best. I'm the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Sasha behind her, cashes in the Money in the Bank because they think they have all the chips. And Sasha wins in Boston. And that would actually be like, because they're known to pull that off, having the hometown person win a title. Come on now. There's many of times they've done that.
But just as much as they've had people lose big matches in their hometown, Bailey being one of them, that she always loses in San Jose. But I think Sasha. I think that's the route they're going with the women's division, with Sasha winning the briefcase and then creating even more tension between Sasha and Bailey. I think that's where we're going with that.
Or paranoia.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're still my friend, right? Yeah, sure. You know, kind of. I think it has potential for some great storytelling.
I
But
think Nia is on a collision course with Rousey after all those tweets and stuff like that. Come at me, bitch.
are you are you telling me that Ronda Rousey's on her way back? Is that what you're telling me?
My
Throwback.
gut feeling is that Rousey's going to come back at some point. They have to do the four horsewomen. It's just at some point. But the thing is that Charlotte's getting up there, Rousey's getting up there, and Baszler's getting up there.
Jessamine Duke's not ready.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying in a year or so. If Rousey comes in at the end of the year around Survivor Series, plans it out,
We'll see.
anything could happen.
But you've picked Sasha as your winner here.
Yeah.
Who else do you think would be in this match if you were to say these are the 5 other women that should be in this match as well?
Baszler is obviously going to be it because of the fact that obviously, look at the match at WrestleMania.
Sure.
If you had to do 2, 2, and 2, it's a long shot if she gets back, but Rhea Ripley would be actually there from NXT.
Sure.
That's one. But I'm actually high on Dakota Kai.
Yes.
I think she would actually go, but Tegan's not that far behind. Just because if you see the documentary about her coming back, that was amazing.
Yep.
But
and they really like her. They really, really like Tegan Knox.
They love her. I mean, if you after the Mae Young Classic and she hurt herself, and you see Hunter.
Oh yeah.
That just
breaks her heart.
Obviously Baszler is going to be there regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And then just for shits and giggles, why not just throw the Annihilator in there, just see how it goes. But basically on SmackDown, if you have to, give it to Sasha, and then it'd be a crapshoot at that point. Yeah, I mean, it really is.
Naomi.
I mean, they could always surprise you. I mean, they could probably put another person in NXT, give them season before Money in the Bank, and just be like, here. I mean, it could be Tegan. They could throw that other, or maybe Candice. If they're going that way with Johnny wrestling.
Hey, you know my theory. I think Gargano and Candice are showing up at SmackDown this week.
That kind of segues into almost what you were talking about yesterday about Cross. Yeah. But that also kind of helps out the theory about the fantasy booking I was telling you about.
As well.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So if you have time, why don't we just get into that?
Well, sure. Lay it on us. Not a problem.
Fantasy booking. You got McIntyre and Strowman, 2 champions. Where are you going to see them go out for the rest of it? So here's the fantasy booking theory I'm going to put out there. The chat can get mad, whatever. I really doesn't matter because it's a theory.
No, chat never gets mad.
McIntyre is going to end up winning against Seth. I think it's just a short-term thing just to get him some momentum, stuff like that, because after, how everything went for the first 2 matches he supposedly had.
Sure.
So what'll end up happening is that he'll get past Seth, and now he's going to need a new person. Why not give him the Rated R Superstar?
Ooh.
Set them 2 up going towards SummerSlam, like we were talking about in my idea. Reigns cashes in the title for the title. There's your final 3 from the Royal Rumble at SummerSlam. Edge goes over. Edge goes into Survivor Series to give him that time between SummerSlam and November. Give him that time so that way, because people are clamoring for Edge to win.
Yeah,
they want him to win.
Yes.
So give him a run, at the WWE Championship, just for enough time. And obviously, he's gonna go if they do the draft. They'll put him to SmackDown because Braun needs somebody too. Braun's like a teddy bear. You need to give him something. They already did. They gave him Alexa Bliss. Ooh.
But the Universal title, so that's not bad.
Yeah. Roman and Edge at Survivor Series. Now, that would be an interesting match because obviously the way they started before, like Drew ended up going crazy and winning at the Rumble. Mm-hmm. Roman wins. Goes into the new year in 2021. Try to guess who's the winner of the Royal Rumble 2021 for Hollywood.
A surprise Drake Maverick return. And he eliminates Brock Lesnar with a sliced bread number 2.
The great one.
Vince
Give
McMahon.
him, give him the Rock. Let
Oh,
everybody
The Rock.
finally have it. Rock wins the Rumble, right? If you can ever think, when has ever Dwayne Johnson win the Royal Rumble? You haven't. You can't.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing in his feather cap that could easily freaking make him upset. Somebody could call him out and be like, "You're supposed to be the great one. Then how come you haven't win the Royal Rumble?"
So he declares himself. He puts himself in.
He comes out at number 27, which is the most common winning one.
Mm-hmm.
He wins the Rumble. Roman's still champion at that point. WrestleMania in Hollywood. Your main event, WrestleMania next year. Roman versus The Rock for the WWE title. It's
That's
one generation versus another. Rock's beat Hogan. He's beat Austin, Triple H, all the huge names in his generation, and some, and Cena.
mm-hmm.
Why not pass the literal baton from family to family? And plus, the Usos even said it on, I think, either the bump or whatever. They said that they're very competitive as a family.
Oh yeah, for
Why
sure.
not? And they're even pulling for it. Actually, no, that was up, up, down, down, I think. Why not give them that? You got their family in the storyline. You got the Usos putting their 2 cents in. It will literally be the most family feud chaos, and everybody will just be watching it.
And it has that Hollywood angle, putting The Rock in there as well. The biggest star in movie star right now out there.
Yeah, and on top of that, after Edge loses first at Survivor Series, and if he gets over there, we don't know what's going to happen with Braun at that point. Everybody's saying on the net that it's going to be short lived, but I doubt it. Give him a real good run. Bray and him, let him hash it out all the way through the summer, and then
Because
go from there.
there's material for that to happen too. To have them have a long extended feud, I agree.
It's ridiculous.
Yep, well, that's an
You know,
interesting idea.
the other thing also is I just didn't realize that a lot of people didn't pick up the line he put in that promo last Friday. I brought you in this word. I'm going to take you out. That's a
Mm-hmm.
Bill Cosby reference.
That's a Bill Cosby reference.
Yeah, he did. My dad used to tell me this all the time when it's like a 1980s comedy special he did. He's like, one of the lines is like, yeah, we bring our kids into the world, but when they get upset, we could always tell them, we brought you in this world. We could surely take you out.
Really? Because my mother used to tell me that all the time, and I can guarantee she never listened to Bill Cosby. Maybe
Yeah.
he stole his material from my mom. That's what I'm and that also makes me very worried then.
But I mean, all of these could happen. That's the best part about the unpredictability about this.
Sure.
The storylines and stuff like that. But the idea of having McIntyre go against Roman and Edge and giving Edge what the people want. I mean, 9 years. God, give the guy a title and let him go.
Just
Let's
let him
see what he
happen.
really could do. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Well, I mean, it's a why not dream? I mean, that's what we have to do now. I mean, and come up with these I mean, I'd be down with that, and it'd be a draw as far as the main event goes. It'd be a fantastic draw.
And then you could have Gargano win the Intercontinental title and just have him go against Bryan and just let them go after each other for a while. That will set up so many storylines because those intricate parts, especially when Tamina's not involved,
Mm.
will set everything up. But I really think that a lot of the people from NXT have to come up. There's got to be more people they have to bring up because look at SmackDown's roster on the women's side; it's very bland.
Yeah, that's why I think Candice is showing up on Friday. Hey, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that's some great fantasy booking. Good. I that's definitely a story I can get behind. Chat seems to like it too. But chat likes you. I like you, Throwback. You're a cool dude. I want to thank you for coming on the show, accepting the invitation. It was very, very kind.
No problem. Anytime. Whenever you want me on, just say it and I'll be here.
And I think we'll do it again sometime soon. And in the meantime, everyone, I want to thank everyone. We're going to wrap this one up. This is what I'm segueing towards. I'm towards bringing this all to an end. I want to thank everyone for joining us live here this evening or for taking the time to listen at any given moment. If you haven't already, do consider giving the video a thumbs up. That's always cool. And if you're listening for the first time, hey, consider subscribing as well. That's neatness as well. Throwback, is there anywhere that you'd like people to go and reach out to you on social media or wherever?
You can find me on Facebook. Just put facebook.com/throwback978, or follow Warren and you can find me. I'm not that hard to find. It's not really that hard to find a 6 foot, 180-pound guy out of Boston. It's not really that hard.
there you go. Yeah, good luck. Best of luck to everyone then, and do send some love over Throwback's way. He's a good guy. I'm glad we had an opportunity to chat. I'm glad everyone had an opportunity to show up this evening. I want to thank you all. Don't forget, immediately after when I'm done here, heading over to the Patreon to do the post stream. Going to be talking about some more stuff, including the NXT Cruiserweight Tournament. Hope to see you guys there. Thank you all so very much for coming. We'll see you next time.